David Bowie was the ultimate master of reinvention, an artist who was always in control of his own story. But his final act, it might just be his greatest masterpiece of all, a farewell that was meticulously planned and created right under our noses, while the world had absolutely no idea he was saying goodbye. So let's get into the incredible story of how he pulled it off.
So, this line from his big surprise comeback album in 2013, it felt like classic Bowie, right? Super witty, a little poke at all the rumors about his health, but looking back on it now, wow. It was the perfect piece of misdirection in this incredible game of artistic smoke and mirrors he was playing. All right, so to really understand just how shocking his return was, we gotta go back to the period when David Bowie he just vanished. After a major heart attack cut his 2004 tour short, David Bowie, this constant presence in music and culture, just went radio silent. For nearly 10 years, all we got were these little flickers, a role here, a curated album there. And by 2012, that silence was so loud that the rumors were everywhere. Was he sick? Had he just quietly packed it all in? Pretty much everyone had kind of made their peace with it. The consensus was that we'd probably heard the last from David Bowie. It felt like an era had already ended, not with a bang, but just quietly and without any fanfare at all. And then, just when everybody had counted him out, the silence was shattered in the most dramatic way you can imagine. Seriously? Can you imagine waking up one morning to a headline you never, ever thought you'd see again? Out of the blue, a brand new David Bowie song just appears. No warning, no hype, no press releases. It was a genuine shock to the system, a lightning bolt from a sky that had been totally empty for a decade.
But here's the really strange thing about this comeback. 2013 was a massive year for Bowie's work. We got the new album the next day, a huge museum exhibit, a bunch of music videos. But Bowie, the man himself, he was a ghost. No interviews, no appearances, nothing. It was like he was everywhere and nowhere all at once, just hiding in plain sight.
But as this all continued, the feelings started to shift. Things got a bit darker, a little more confusing. We were getting all these clues, but none of them seemed to add up. This was the puzzle everyone was trying to solve. I mean, you watch the music video for Valentine's Day, and he looks fantastic. He's got all this energy. But then he puts out this song, Sue, and the lyrics are all about clinics and x-rays. It's like, wait a minute, how can both of these things be true at the same time? Then came Lazarus. It was from his stage musical that came out in late 2015, and this one line, I've got scars that can't be seen, man, it just hits you. It felt so deeply personal, almost painfully honest. I think it resonated with anyone who's ever watched someone they love just fade away. So what was really going on? Was he writing about his old heart condition? Was this all just, art? A big metaphor? The pieces just weren't fitting together, and the mystery around him just kept getting deeper and deeper. And it turns out all of this was building to something, to his final act. An album not from the very second it was released, just felt different. It felt final. And the date was so important. It's January 8th, 2016. It's his 69th birthday. And in classic Bowie fashion, he's the one giving us a gift. And of course, the world just loved it. Critics were calling it a masterpiece, this bold, brilliant piece of work. But even under all that praise, you just had this nagging feeling that something else was going on. Even in those first couple of days when everyone had it on repeat, the themes were just impossible to ignore. It was all about death and sickness and reckoning with the end. It was so poignant. A lot of us were listening and thinking, this feels like a final statement, like a farewell note set to music. And it turns out we were right. But nobody, and I mean nobody, could have possibly imagined how soon that farewell was coming. On January 10th, 2016, the news broke. David Bowie was dead. And in that one single moment of shock and grief, everything suddenly, brutally, made perfect sense. And with that devastating news that he'd been privately battling cancer for 18 months, that entire last chapter of his life was suddenly cast in a whole new light. So you have to ask the question again, right? What was Black Star really? Because it wasn't just his latest album. No, it was something way, way more deliberate than that. All of a sudden, all those confusing clues just snapped right into focus.
That skeleton in the spacesuit in the video, that wasn't just some random image. That was Major Tom, his first great character, finally floating away for good. The lyrics, they weren't metaphors anymore. They were statements of fact. Look up here, I'm in heaven. I'm dying too. Even the title was a clue, pointing to an old Elvis song about a black star of death.
Black Star wasn't just a late career masterpiece, it was a death requiem. It was a piece of performance art where the subject was his own death. He turned his own departure into his final and maybe his greatest work of art.
The secrecy, the clues, the timing of the release, it was all part of the show. It was this final, incredible act of artistic control from a man who was always in control of his own story, right up to the very end. It was just pure Bowie genius. And that final line from the album's very last song really says it all. He left us a puzzle to solve, a final gift, and a powerful reminder that true art, like a true life, is about leaving the world just a little more interesting than you found it.